In light of the unfolding events in Iran today, widespread protests, open defiance of the regime, and a growing sense that the Islamic Republic may be facing its greatest crisis since 1979, that title now appears, at least potentially, premature. Far from Mohammad Reza Pahlavi being the last Shah of Iran, it is now being openly discussed that his son, the exiled crown prince, could one day become Iran's next Shah. A scenario few observers would have taken seriously even 6 months ago. So who exactly is Reza Shah II, the man many now describe as the pretender to Iran's ancient peacock throne? To understand this, we must briefly return to the origins of the Pahlavi dynasty itself. In my earlier video, I explained how Reza Shah, the founder of the dynasty, seized power in 1925 and embarked on an ambitious program of centralization, secularization, and modernization. However, during the Second World War, his increasingly pro-German stance and his strained relationship with Britain proved fatal to his reign. At the time, Britain effectively controlled Iran's oil industry, one of the most lucrative resources in the world, and had no intention of tolerating a ruler who threatened its strategic and economic interests. In 1941, British and Soviet forces invaded Iran, forcing Reza Shah to abdicate. He was replaced by his son, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. Mohammad Reza Pahlavi ruled Iran for nearly 4 decades. During his reign, Iran became a key Western ally in the Middle East, closely aligned with both Britain and the United States. However, beneath the surface of rapid industrialization and military expansion lay deep social and political tensions. By the late 1970s, widespread resentment had built up over the Shah's authoritarian rule, the brutality of the secret police, rapid westernization that alienated traditional society, growing inequality, and perceptions of corruption. When protests erupted in 1978, they quickly spiraled beyond control. Suffering from terminal cancer, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi left Iran in January 1979. He would never return. After months of exile and diplomatic rejection, he died in Cairo in July 1980. The Shah had been married 3 times and had 5 children. His eldest son, Reza Pahlavi, was his undisputed heir. Born in October 1960, Reza Pahlavi grew up surrounded by extraordinary wealth, privilege, and power. In 1967, at just 7 years old, he was officially named Crown Prince when his father crowned himself Shahanshah, King of Kings, of Iran. Like both his father and grandfather, Reza developed an early passion for aviation. He flew solo for the first time at the age of 11, earned a private pilot's license soon after, and entered training as an officer cadet in the Imperial Iranian Air Force while still a teenager. In August 1978, with Iran already beginning to destabilize, he was sent to the United States to complete a 1-year pilot training program at Reese Air Force Base in Texas. It was intended to prepare him for future command within Iran's Air Force. History intervened. As the Islamic Revolution gathered momentum, Reza's training was abruptly cut short. In March 1979, he left the program, effectively stranded in exile as the monarchy collapsed back home. Later that year, Reza returned to the United States to study at Williams College in Massachusetts. However, the trauma of exile, uncertainty about his future, and the disintegration of the world he had known led him to drop out in 1980. With the Pahlavi family now living in exile in Egypt under the protection of President Anwar Sadat, Reza enrolled at the American University in Cairo. Even there, his attendance was sporadic. Instead, he relied heavily on private Iranian tutors, seeking to preserve cultural and linguistic ties to a homeland he could no longer visit. In 1985, he obtained a degree in political science by correspondence from the University of Southern California. Following the death of Mohammad Reza Pahlavi in July 1980, Empress Farah declared herself regent, preserving the legal continuity of the monarchy. Then, on his 20th birthday, the 21st of October 1980, Reza Pahlavi formally proclaimed himself Shah of Iran, adopting the regnal title Reza Shah II. The declaration was largely symbolic. The United States government, along with all major world powers, refused to recognize him as Iran's legitimate ruler. The Islamic Republic remained firmly in control. Nevertheless, Reza Shah II did not abandon his claim. From exile, initially based in Cairo and later in the United States, he began assembling a loose network of monarchists, former officials, military officers, and supporters of restoration. But from the very beginning, he faced a fundamental problem. Iranian opposition in exile was deeply fragmented. Left-wing groups, Republicans, secular nationalists, and ethnic movements all rejected the idea of restoring monarchy. Even among those opposed to the Islamic Republic, many viewed the Pahlavi era as irredeemably authoritarian. This division has persisted for over 45 years. In 1982, reports surfaced of a dramatic coup plot aimed at restoring Reza Pahlavi to the throne. According to multiple sources, the plan involved elements of the CIA and Israeli intelligence, with backing from Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin. The alleged network included figures such as Yaakov Nimrodi, an Israeli businessman and former Mossad agent, Adolf Schwimmer, a key figure in Israel's aerospace industry, and Saudi billionaire arms dealer Adnan Khashoggi. However, the plan collapsed when Begin was replaced by Yitzhak Shamir, who dismissed the scheme as a new adventure Israel could not afford. Later investigations revealed that during the Reagan administration, the CIA was authorized to provide financial support to Iranian exile groups, including Reza Pahlavi. Whether any such assistance continues today remains unclear, though it has often been noted that his long-term residence in Great Falls, Virginia, lies only a short distance from CIA headquarters in Langley. From the mid-1980s onward, Reza Pahlavi deliberately reshaped his public image. Rather than presenting himself as an exiled king-in-waiting, he increasingly framed his role as that of an advocate for human rights, democracy, and national reconciliation. He consistently called for the separation of religion and state, freedom of expression, and free and fair elections. Crucially, he has repeatedly stated that he does not seek to rule as an absolute monarch. Instead, he argues for a constitutional monarchy, similar to that of modern Britain, in which the Shah would serve as a non-political unifying symbol above day-to-day governance. In this vision, Iran would be a secular democracy, with the monarch acting as a guarantor of national unity rather than a ruler. Reza Pahlavi has also maintained close ties with Israel, a relationship that has proven highly controversial among Iranians. In 2023, he visited Israel and met with President Isaac Herzog and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, presenting the visit as a gesture of regional reconciliation. However, criticism intensified after he declined to condemn Israeli airstrikes on Iran in 2025. Several Iranian political prisoners publicly accused him of betraying his country, highlighting the deep mistrust that still surrounds him. Despite this, the eruption of mass anti-government protests inside Iran has transformed his position. As demonstrations spread and chants calling for the return of the Shah echoed through the streets, the old imperial flag of the Pahlavi era reappeared, a symbol long absent from Iranian public life. For many protesters, it represented not nostalgia but defiance. Reza Pahlavi has openly called on Iranians to continue protesting, framing the movement as a historic opportunity to end the Islamic Republic. Notably, no single opposition leader inside Iran has emerged as a clear figurehead, nor has any exile group managed to unify the fractured opposition abroad. In this vacuum, Reza Pahlavi has become, willingly or not, the most widely recognized symbolic alternative. If revolutionary change does occur, it is entirely possible that Iran could face a profound question: republic or monarchy? To many, restoring a monarchy appears anachronistic, a step backwards in history. To others, a constitutional Shah could provide stability, continuity, and a neutral symbol capable of holding a fractured nation together in the aftermath of upheaval. For Reza Pahlavi personally, these events represent the greatest opportunity he has faced in more than 40 years of exile. Whether he ultimately returns to Iran as a private citizen, a symbolic monarch, or not at all remains uncertain. What is clear is that the story of the Pahlavi dynasty may not yet be finished. This is, quite literally, a case of watch this space. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and share, and do visit my audiobook channel, War Stories with Mark Felton. You can also support both channels via PayPal and Patreon. Details are in the description box below.